What is up? What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another Deal Makers Club. Today is a little different. We're going to dive into a recent topic that I wrote about on LinkedIn and here that really goes into, I think, a critical topic right now with everything that we're seeing with the adoption of artificial intelligence across the board, with all the job losses that we're seeing with uptick in unemployment, on whether or not the college degree is still worth it in 2026. And so I just want to really draw your attention to this one. Definitely, if you haven't subscribed to my capital brief, to take a look at that, because this is driving a lot of decisions in the economy. And quite frankly, college loan debt has been something that's really crippled a lot of individuals throughout their entire career, with being able to, the high payments, the high interest, and everything along those lines. So it's something that I wanted to really, I thought was relevant to today, just with the job market, the economy, with the adoption of artificial intelligence across all career fields, to really understand, is the college degree still worth it in 2026, and what that looks like today, and how you should really think about, especially those, if you have kids that are going off to college. I can remember back in 2000, 25 years ago now, wow, when it was going and really looking at the date on things, how things have changed. But for a lot of things, when you look at like the actual career and college and how college prepares you, hasn't really changed a lot, but the price has. And so we're going to really go through and dive into that today in the Deal Makers Club. But really rethinking education skills and that economic ROI. For those that don't know, I'm Johnny Lynham, retired Air Force acquisitions officer turned, I won't say turned real estate investor. I've been a real estate investor now since, I would say officially since 2013, although I bought my first house in 2006, turned into a rental property 2010. Then started 2013 buying actual rental properties in Birmingham, and invested in many states from Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and no, I hadn't done anything in Texas. But yeah, those are kind of those states, and really have, from moving around, lived in Texas for 10 months, Virginia, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, really having a different perspective on what it comes to building wealth, leverage, and real estate. And now, I really work with a real estate investors and help serve them with financial advising. But how the system was built. So we look at a lot of things since the 1920s, 1930s, the adoption of the Industrial Revolution, and you really think about it, how technology has evolved with transportation, with the automobile. And then we look at like the nuclear bomb, the space program in the 50s, 60s. Then we see the 70s, where we have just mass production. We start looking at computers coming online. And then from there, the 80s, late 80s, going into creation of the internet, 90s, just the not obsession, but the adoption of technology in corporate America. We had the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s, and now just the proliferation of the internet, the iPhone, and now we are today, and just with artificial intelligence and how that's changing society. But when you think about it, school and how school was set up, it was originally set up to produce standardized workers for factories and large bureaucratic organizations. And you look at all the change that we have seen across society, but school has never changed. They still want you to show up for 8 hours, sit in a desk, they give you a couple breaks, they let you go to hang out at lunch with your friends, and then the bell rings, and then you're free to go back and then to go off to your life, then come back and do it again, and they give you a salary or whatever. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it's the same exact school process and education process, although the economy, our world has drastically changed. The academic system is set up the exact same way. And I think that's why so many people struggle in society today, because they have a old legacy approach to building wealth, to their career, that is no longer relevant in today's digital and entrepreneurial economy, that it rewards content creation, it rewards creativity, flexibility, skill sets. I'm in the process of hiring or making two hires for my company. And guess what? I don't care what college they went to. I'm gonna look at it. I'm like, okay, you did that, cool. But what projects have you led? What's in your portfolio of skills that you have? What projects have you successfully led? On what level of experience you have? That's all I care about. It's like, what are you bringing to the table? How do you think? How are you going to answer these questions? How has your life experiences prepared you to be here today to provide a force multiplier for my organization? That's all that matters. And a lot of times the school system is falling short, and it may not be the right answer for everyone. And the skills, we haven't really dove in this already, but skills over credentials, adaptability. You got to be able to learn on your feet. I really love working with military people because guess what? That comes inherently with our job being in the military. You're going to be empowered to do great things. You're going to have responsibility way above your pay grade, and we're going to expect great things from you. And we're going to empower you to do those things in most cases because you have micromanage. I'm not going down. I'm not getting on that soapbox today, but you have to be adaptable. And that's in war. And being in situations where the fog of war and is dynamic, it's changing, it's evolving, real time. You have to make real time decisions and pivots. So that's one of the things. Like my team knows that, hey, yeah, he'll pivot on the offering, the service, what we're doing, getting real time data surveys. Like, hey, we need to change, evolve because society is changing at that speed. And unfortunately, if you're stuck in a academic black and white study, regurgitate this on the test type of mindset, you're going to struggle in today's economy. Problem solving that goes right in hand with that. You got to be able to solve problems. You got to be able to critically think. You can't look at a textbook approach and then answer multiple choice and fill in the blank questions. Life is way more dynamic and complex than that. And those that are able to succeed in this area are going to do well. Digital fluency. You got to be comfortable with technology. I'm saying if you're not using AI right now in your job, you're behind, but you can recover. You need to look at the platforms that are being leveraged out here. And the traditional academic pedigree, is it setting you up for success? Maybe, maybe not. And you must have an ownership mindset. Whether you're working a W 2 job for someone, you're an entrepreneur, you're about to go off to college, your kids are going off to college, you have to give them an ownership mindset and think creatively about the opportunities that are out here. Credentials alone cannot unlock success and opportunities. Like a lot of the stuff that I found, some people hate the nepotism and all that, but it is what it. People hire people they know, like, and trust. People they have familiar with, relationships. They get referrals. That it goes a long way than 1,000 applicants submitting online you don't have a relationship with versus a peer saying, "Hey, I know so and so that can be good for this position. Here's their resume." It goes a lot further, unfortunately. And so that's why you have to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out here, and everything that you want in life is a stranger or someone that you do not know today that can help you be successful in whatever area you are seeking to be successful in your life. Affordability crisis. Average 4-year cost $110,000 for college. Woo, it's a lot of money, especially if you're taking loans that's accruing interest. It could be a long time, decades before you pay that off. Right now, $1.7 trillion of student debt across the board, and tuition since the year 2000 has increased 170%. I guarantee you, wages have not kept up that with 170% increase in two decades. Cost versus outcome. You pay over $100,000 for tuition fees. You get 4 years of income forgone where you could have been working, accumulating interest on loans, and opportunity costs on alternative paths. And what you get, uncertain job placements. A lot of people right now hurting coming into the job market. They can't find employment in their career that they went to school for 4 years and paid $100,000 in debt to go into. Variable wage premiums, generic skill development, and years of debt burden that we kind of talked about. And then you may be already have your degree. You're kind of seeing some of these things where you're going to have to repivot your skill set. The government just fired 300,000 plus people the last year. Everyone's laying off with the tech jobs from all the hires they made during COVID. And now they're adopting AI and it's replacing a lot of jobs. You may have to retool what you went to school for traditionally with your degree. You may have to completely reinvent yourself. And that was something that I saw early on, when I was year 16, 17, and beginning to transition out the military, that I saw it happen. I was like, hey, I got to get in on content creation. I got to start thinking about life differently and building my business differently. But the thing is like, do you really need to spend 100,000 on tuition? Like, if you invest 100, so you save that 100,000 for your kids, and what if you just invested it and then what would it be at age 65? Over time. And so that's one of the things. Matter of fact, let me ask chat real quick and see what would be the investment on that. If you didn't go to school and you just gave your kid that money in an investment account. Hey, chat. So real quick, if someone invests $100,000 at age 18 and they get a 8% annual return, how much money would they have in an investment account at age 65?
All right, let's break it down. From age 18 to 65, that's 47 years of compounding. With an 8% annual return, the money grows quite impressively. In fact, by age 65, that $100,000 would grow to around 3.4 million. Not a bad nest egg at all.
Not at all. Thanks, Chad.
You bet.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, think about that. You go start your career as electrician, a plumber, whatever job or your passion. Like my son is like, I think this kid needs to go to culinary school. I think we're gonna look and do some like immersion, like in Spain or something. Let him go cook and like learn from somebody. Like we got to find something for him. But he's great at cooking, and like it may not be. He may need to go to culinary school and not go to college. I hope and pray one of them, goes the finance route so I can hand over the business. They can take the reins for that. But the thing is, like, your kid may not go to college, and that's okay. But that's the thing. If you took 100,000, put that money you were gonna give to school for tuition to do something for them to go off and party and have fun and get the college experience. But if you put that money to work when they turn age 65, that 100,000 turns into 3.4 million that they have in a nest egg. Regardless of if that's with them not putting any more money towards retirement or anything. If you set them up for success by doing that, and they live in a fulfilled life, and guess what? They're not in a dead end job. They don't have starting off with all this debt. They're starting in a position of power. So it's something to think about with how we position our young people for life in general. Not just looking at the career and everything, but this is how you position yourself for life. And the thing is, there's no guarantee of premium wages when you get out of school. There are a lot of college graduates struggling with jobs. They go back and get another degree because they can't find a job, which is just crazy. Employment uncertainty, degrees no longer automatically translate to job offers. It's all about who you know and who knows you. You got to have the right network to get where you want to life. I've learned that along the way for sure. Field specific diminishment. There are literally people going to college right now, 4 years from now, with AI adoption. Your job may not even exist by the time you get your 4 year degree. And some of us that's watching this, like certain jobs and career fields may not exist. If we don't adopt AI and learn how to use it, we may not be irrelevant in 3 or 4 years. It's a sad fact. Employers are shifting priorities. We talked about this skill based hiring. Like, the corporate tech, they're looking for you to have skills. They don't care about where you went to school. Can you deliver this capability on this project and be a beneficial contributing member to the team? That's what all that matters. Portfolio over pedigree. What have you done? What type of results? What type of success have you had in life? And how can we build on that experience with everything that we're doing here in our organization? That's the conversation that you need to that they're having with you, and that's the conversation you need to be prepared to have if you're going in looking at being hired, in any organization. So certifications, experience, I talked about that. That certs go a long way than saying going off 4 years at a school and checking the box and having a piece of paper. Like you need to have experience right now. And I think, some colleges are evolving and meeting the needs, but a lot aren't. You see some of these organizations like the Amazon and Googles, they have their own training pipeline and technical academics that's already set up that they can give individuals and train them where they know they have the skill set that they need and come in to be productive employees. And then diverse pathways. There's no one way fits all. You can go do boot camps, mastermind groups, self-directed learning, alternative education, where like you can go shadow certain companies. You want to, go sit in a private equity fund that's focused on a niche and learn from them. OJT, hands-on training versus going to learn about theory from someone that never has done anything, that may just be teaching you what's in a book and have never led and ran a business. So that's something that you have to consider. But the real question is, does this path be a high value marketable skills? You have to have skills in the marketplace. They say you got to have skills to pay the bills, and that is true. And but the thing is, it's not college or no college. It's like what you're looking to do, that you are positioning yourself, your passion, what are you looking to build in life? Is it aligned with it? With the income that you want to make, the long term optionality, is the job going to still be around 20 years from now? and making sure you're making a wise decision based off the information today. So, pairing that with the overall wealth strategy, because we always point back to the money, to capitalism, with everything that's going on in society. Real estate, you have to own. One of the best ways to build wealth in the United States is real estate. Leveraging property investments for passive income and appreciation. This is how most Americans build wealth. It's just by owning and owning long term. Investing, we've seen the same thing. Both of these have really hit home after COVID. With the government printing all this money, that we saw real estate appreciation that was unprecedented over a 4-year period. With over 40%, if you own real estate, you're doing great right now investing. Where the stock market has been on the tear, where alone last year over 25% the S&P 500 index um, return. So if you had $1 million in S&P, you made 250,000 last year. And so understanding the mindset, the title of my first book, Millionaire Real Estate Success Strategies, what they forgot to teach you in school, was based off of that. I learned all this wealth building principles, how to force appreciation, buying real estate, buying apartments, by just being in the right rooms, reading books, because they didn't teach you this stuff in school. They teach you all this stuff about mitochondria and and all the cell structure and chemistry. I can remember I had the highest grade in sophomore year in chemistry. And I'm like, man, I don't use this. I'm not a chemist. I'm not being a doctor like that. That information is so irrelevant to me when they should have been teaching me how to buy a house, how to improve my credit score that impacts my interest rate on my credit cards, my interest rates on my house, my HELOC, my interest rates on how much my premium is on my insurance. All those things are impacted by my credit score. They should have been teaching us how to buy a house, how to manage your checkbook, how to read a profit and loss statement for a business, how to be an entrepreneur, all those things, how to think different. But guess what? They were built to create employees, not to create investors, not to create owners. And so here we are with society right now, where over 50% of Americans, can't can't pay a $400 or $500 expense that comes up because they don't have emergency funds. So that's where we are right now in society. Unfortunately, entrepreneurship, create multiple income streams, ownership positions. That's a whole nother day and course in itself. And then just the wealth lane, bringing all this stuff together. Combine your career income with strategic asset accumulation with your investments, and you are going to have a sound wealth strategy at the end of the day. Because high income without a wealth strategy leaves money on the table, and smart professionals build assets while earning. So when you're looking at evaluating any education paths, look at the cost. You're gonna look at the time. You're gonna look at the skill acquisition that you're gonna accumulate from making that move, the income potential, and then the long-term optionality and flexibility for entrepreneurship, career pivots, and geographic mobility. Because even those that have not already gotten their degrees and going down that path, like where we are in society, you're going to have to make some changes. We're going to have to be flexible in our approach. The traditional model doesn't really exist anymore. And if you're hard coded into that, then you're going to struggle. And the last thing, no one cares about your well-being for you and your family more than you do it. So you need to make sure you align your time, your priorities accordingly to make sure you're successful. For those on YouTube and Facebook, definitely give me a follow on LinkedIn. Go and read the full article there. If you would like, just kind of diving into the data on the current career paths and just where everything now. Because the Wall Street Journal article said for the first time ever that high school graduates are outpacing those with college degrees, and that's what really drove this, which is the first time in over 50 years that this has happened. So there are a lot of things that are changing in society. You know, if you want to have a conversation, for my real estate investors out there, you're looking for a financial advisor, looking for the 1031 exchange, and understand how that transitions into the wealth that you're building. We'd love to have that conversation. Make sure you guys stay tuned in for more career economics, wealth strategy, alternative investments, all of that. I have you have a great day, and make sure you're making decisions that are serving you and your best interest for you and your family going forward. And I'll see you next week. And oh, by the way, and I think we have a couple of great things coming up February. I'm gonna have my guy Ray Reyes is gonna be coming on talking. He's a fund manager and talking about his experience with finding great operators to invest capital into and just the due diligence process. So for all my accredited investors, make sure you tune in for that episode. I think we're doing that one on the 19th, well, no, 18th. Yep. So 2 weeks from today. And then also we have another gentleman based out of DC that has a fund that is acquiring IP. So that's right. I don't know why I'm saying Innovation Partners, my broker dealer IP. No, the other IP where you're having I'm having a complete brain for intellectual property with music rights. They buy music rights. So you see like Justin Bieber, Future, who are some other people that sold their portfolio? T-Pain. So buy intellectual property, buy music rights, and then how they can monetize that with streaming, but then some other creative things that they're doing that he's going to share. So a lot of great opportunities to kind of think, to change your thinking when it comes to wealth building. So make sure you guys always stay tuned, and I'll see you next week.